Hello, welcome everyone. We thank you for joining the PC Matic webinar here this afternoon. My name is Stephanie and I am part of our PC Matic Pro sales and marketing team here at PC Matic. And then we have Tom joining us as well. He is also part of the Pro team, Pro support team, but he focuses on onboarding. So any of our PC Matic Pro business customers help that need help with installation. Tom helps them get started with all of the features that we're going to discuss today. So, Tom, do you have sharing rights?
I do. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
So we'll go ahead and pull up a slide deck today that'll help us with our conversation. And then Tom will also go through and kind of show you around our PC Matic Pro portal or console. All right, so Tom, if you want to go to that second slide there. So
Sure.
The purpose of today's webinar is to, again, share more information on our PC Matic Pro product. PC Matic Pro stands for just PC Matic's business solution. Most of you on here, if not all of you, are already PC Matic home customers. So you're familiar with our home product, maybe have been using it for a few months or even many, many years. We just want to let you know that this Pro product that we have is certainly not a replacement of that home product. If you are a home customer and you have less than 10 computers or laptops or even phones or tablets at home, and you've been using PC Matic Home, that is just fine. You are still getting that application allow listing technology that we specialize in. Those devices are all still receiving that protection. But we understand that there are businesses out there that maybe have more than 10 devices, expanding into hundreds or even tens of thousands of devices that need protection as well. And our home product just would not be able to cover all of that. And so with the success of our home product, and we were seeing that we were being able to keep home customers protected, we created PC Matic Pro, which is for larger businesses. So again, this is not a replacement of that home product, but it is something that's built for businesses with more than 10 devices or small businesses that have servers, because our home products do not support servers. So just wanted to clear that up before we got started here. So we have 9 features that we're going to discuss today that are not offered in the home product, but are offered in our PC Matic Pro product. That is centralized management, silent and bulk installation methods, our fingerprint dashboard. We talk about different protection modes, remote access features, some reporting, some vulnerability monitoring, and then some notification management as well. And we do want to open it up for questions as we go. So if Tom and I are talking about a specific feature here, and you have a question about that feature that maybe Tom hasn't brought up, feel free to use that chat. The chat can be found again up in that right-hand corner. You can also submit a question. And then I actually added a material to the meeting today as well. So if you go to the materials tab, you can download that home versus pro document, which actually shows you a little bit more a checklist of how some of the two solutions differ. So with that being said, we will go to that next slide, which is our first feature we will talk about today, and that is the centralized management. This is, really going to show you kind of what that console looks like and how it's different from our home product. If you're familiar with that home product, you know that you have to go onto each individual device and install that PC Matic software onto that device separately. Well, with our product for Pro, we've got a centralized console, which really just makes it easier for businesses with more devices to manage all of those devices from one spot.
So with the centralized management of your devices, this is an example of what your device dashboard will look like. As Stephanie said, you can log into your PC Matic Pro account and you can see at one glance all your devices that have been installed. You can see what type of devices they are. You can tell whether or not the devices are powered on and connected to our server. You can see which devices have not been online for, several days, maybe weeks. You also can see out to the right-hand side under the status column, it will indicate whether or not the device has RDP enabled or not. And so for those customers that are not familiar with RDP, some machines can have RDP enabled without even knowing it. And this is a really good way to know whether or not those devices currently have RDP turned on or not. And you also have the ability with the remote access, the remote login to any other devices. So the dashboard makes it really easy to get a quick visual of what your account looks like.
Great. Yeah, and he mentioned some of those remote tools, RDP too, that we'll go into a little bit later as well to give you more information on what that means. So our second feature here is the silent and bulk install. So that really goes into just thinking about larger businesses that have multiple devices, multiple users, that may be in different locations. This gives them the ability to silently install the software across all of those devices, again, from that one single console.
And how that looks is over under account settings. We have our list of different devices across a network. And from this ability here, I can simply select which computers I want to push out the installation. So there's no downloading of the software. There is no having to walk to a computer and push buttons to install it. It simply just pushes across the network over to the different devices, runs the installation silently, and within minutes, the device is installed and it's up and running.
Next, third feature here is our fingerprint dashboard. And I know when we first see that, I know I did. I think of my fingerprints on my hands, and that's not what this is. This is just what we call our software asset management dashboard. And this really, again, it's another perk for large businesses to be able to pull up all of the software that is found on their network and on all of their devices, and easily approve any of those pieces of software that PC Matic maybe has found and never seen before and marked as unknown. And so when you're thinking about a larger environment, you need to be able to kind of act quickly to be able to get pieces of software running so that you don't have to shut down and kind of lose money, and the business can keep on running as it should.
Yeah, and what's really nice about this dashboard in particular is if you think about in a business, many users are running common software, QuickBooks or any type of software where it's shared across different users. What the dashboard does is it works off of the scanning tool, and it collects all the unknown software, and that is unknown to PC Matic. So things that PC Matic has not seen yet, those are unknown applications, and those typically will get blocked, and therefore once they're blocked, you have to go through and you have to allow it, and then you can retry that software application again. What the Fingerprint Dashboard really does for you is it exposes all those unknown application files ahead of time so that you can actually get those put onto your local allow list, so that when the users start to run that software, now they're going to be able to run it without it being blocked because it's already been approved locally.
Our fourth feature here is the multiple protection modes. So with our business product, you have options for different protection modes. So we have our global, our adaptive, our standard, and our strict. And our global is that default protection. I believe that is what our home users get as well. And that's our default deny, super shield protection that we stand by. But we noticed as we were working with different businesses that they require different modes depending on what their needs were. So Tom will go in and kind of show you
Sure.
those different modes.
So as Stephanie mentioned, the standard out of the box protection mode everybody's used to is what's called the global mode. This protection mode operates solely off of the PC Matic global definitions. What PC Matic defines as an approved application is allowed to run. Anything unknown would be blocked. But you may have instances where you want to lock down something a little bit more. So for example, if you don't want somebody to be able to run Facebook.exe, for example, that may be an approved application file. So under a global protection mode, that file would be allowed to run. You could use one of the more restrictive modes, which instead of relying solely on the PC Matic definitions of what is allowed to run and what is not allowed to run, you're more or less setting a policy to be more about what you as an organization defines to be allowed to run. So it relies more on your local approval list rather than the PC Matic global list.
So our fifth feature here is the built-in secured remote access. So again, when thinking about larger organizations, you may have devices in different locations, and you may want to remote into those devices from home, or from maybe you have an employee that's sick and they have something on their computer that you want access to, so you can remote into those devices without having to purchase a third-party software. You can do it all right from our PC Matic console.
Right, and this is probably the most popular feature within the PC Matic Pro product, because what it does is the product includes the remote access feature. It doesn't cost any extra for that feature. So if you think about maybe you have TeamViewer, or you have AnyDesk or SplashTop, those applications may be costing you money, a yearly rate. Maybe it's a couple $100 for a certain license. The PC Matic remote access is included in the product, and it allows you to log into your account, but then you can also remotely access any of your other devices. So again, it's out of the box. It's nothing that needs to be configured. It pretty much just is, it gets installed, and you can easily remote into other machines. You can do things like a file transfer from machine to machine. So pretty much everything that your typical remote applications will give to you that you're paying for, you can get it through the PC Matic remote access.
And then to stay on topic of those remote tools, we'll go into our built-in RDP management. And Tom had mentioned this at the beginning as well. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, and this is essentially a port that allows users to remote into and control computers from other devices. We have found over the years, the RDP and OpenRDP ports are a huge security hole. And so our developers have created multiple security tools built into our console to help businesses that use RDP keep those secure and keep their businesses up and running and without being hit with malware or ransomware.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite features within our Pro product, only because RDP is such a, it's a very popular tool that hackers like to use. So if they can gain some credential information, or they even can figure out which devices have RDP enabled, if they have a lot of the information needed to connect outside into a computer inside your organization, RDP is very commonly used by the hackers, because when they make that connection, it's not like the GoToMeetings or the LogMeIns or Splashtop where you see a mouse moving. It's actually creating a session in the background, but they have control of your device. So like I mentioned earlier, one of the nice things that the Pro product does is when you install PC Matic onto a device, we will check that device to see if it has RDP enabled. And so the first thing that you can see right off the bat is, if I have devices where RDP is turned on, maybe I'm not even using RDP. I don't even know what it means. Well, then I don't want it to be active. So through the RDP management, I have the ability off my control center to simply shut down RDP altogether. Now I've just closed that security hole that may have been out there all along and I never realized it. But along with RDP, if you're using it, if it is something that you're using within your organization, maybe you have RDP turned on because you have a vendor that once a month needs to come in to do maintenance, to do some updates, or whatever the case may be. The RDP management is a good tool because you have a lot of the controls about turning it on, turning it off, scheduling when you want it turned on. But you also have some reporting that you can look at that can tell you who's been connecting in through RDP. And just like we have application allow listing, where certain applications are authorized to run or not run based on if we block them, you also have the device allow listing where you can put devices onto a authorized list. So only those devices could RDP into any of your systems that run PC Matic.
Great. Number 7 is our robust reporting. So again, as home users, if you're a home customer, you probably receive those monthly reports through email that really show you high level what the home product is doing for you each month. This is similar in a way we have, but much more information in there, and that's for businesses to be able to really look at reports and not only have them for internal use, or maybe they even need to submit some information for cybersecurity insurance purposes. So there are security maintenance reports in here that Tom will show you now, as well as software.
Sure. So under the reports menu, we have a number of different reports available. We have our security summary and our maintenance summary, and these are 2 reports that are going to give you information about both the real-time Super Shield agent that runs on each machine. It's going to report information about processes that were checked, files that were checked, processes that are blocked, any kind of security patches, which is our patch management tool, which keeps all your third-party applications up to date. So you'll see that information in the security summary and the maintenance summary. And like Stephanie said, you also have all your monthly reports, and you're probably familiar with what they look like, but we also store those under the reports. And then the 2 reports that I like in particular is the hardware inventory and software inventory. So if you're a small business and you're one that likes to periodically, maybe it's once a year, maybe it's once a quarter. You like to update your asset management system so that you know what computers you have in your office or what software is installed across the different devices. These two reports are very useful in getting a head start on that. We will show you for the hardware inventory, we're going to show you how many desktops, laptops, and even servers. The manufacturers, we give you the quantity of each of those. So you can always expand on those and kind of get more detail on that. Similarly, with the software inventory, I can see all the different software that is used across all of my devices. Again, we give you quantities and we even break out different versions. So you could have, for example, the program AnyDesk. We have 2 copies of it and 2 different versions. So really good information here on your reports, and especially if you're maintaining those asset reports, this information can help you at least get a good head start on keeping those reports up to date.
Lots of good information in there. Number 8. This is our second to last one, I believe. So device vulnerability monitoring. So this really gives businesses the ability to just track device weaknesses in real time and again, identify outdated software and security holes that we may have found. I know you have some vulnerability, some kind of patch management tools in the home tool that we'll look at third-party apps and update those, but this again takes it a step further with our business customers.
Yeah, so one of the challenges in the on the home side is every device kind of is in its own little island. You know, they're all within the same account, but with the centralized management within that you get within the PC Matic Pro product, everything is kind of brought together and can be seen in one snapshot, if you will. So under vulnerabilities, I can see which computers has the system tray turned on. Most of you on the home side are familiar with that because you go down to your little green shield and you click on it, you get that menu that pops up, and you can do various things. You can change protection level. There's different settings you can make changes to. One of the vulnerabilities from a business side is if somebody got their hands on that device and they altered the protection, it puts that device now in a vulnerable state. So again, in the Pro product, everything's centralized. You can go to your vulnerabilities and you can see which devices have that turned on. And if you want to lock it down, you can simply click on that button and it'll disable that setting for all those devices. Similarly with the prompt for the override. So again, easy to see where my devices are in terms of vulnerabilities. And if I need to make any changes, I can simply disable what I need to.
Okay, and our last feature here is notification management. So again, just really gives users the ability to customize different email and text alerts so that they can get immediate attention to maybe things going on in their portal or things that PC Matic found so that they can go ahead and take action right away if it's necessary.
Yep, so with the notifications, these are all the different notifications that we manage with the Pro product. Most of these are either going to be turned on or turned off. Some of them are turned off, turned on, but they have thresholds, so you can kind of set limits. And then, we talked about the RDP and the importance of making sure, being aware of what devices have RDP turned on. So we have an alert for that, a notification. And that's all good, because anytime one of these notifications is met, we're going to generate the notification inside your console. But unless you're actually logging into your console on a routine basis, you may not be aware of those notifications. So that's where your notification contacts come into play. And that's where you can set the contact to receive an email and or a text message. So some of the notifications might be really, really important to be made aware of without having to log into your account, into your console, to then chase it down. So one example that actually happened to me today, and just to show you what that notification looks like from an email standpoint, is it's telling me I got an email that a file was blocked earlier today. So I'm not logged into the portal, and I'm getting a notification that tells me that a file was blocked. Being that this is all centralized, I can simply log into my account, go in there, look at that blocked application, approve it, and get the user back on the road to getting their work done. So having these push alerts are pretty nice.
Great. So those were, again, the 9 features that we really felt were most important in comparing the two, and what we felt were important for businesses to have for managing PC Matic security software. So again, as a reminder, if you are a home user and you have less than 10 devices and you don't have a server, what you're using now is just enough. But if you are working for a business, or know of someone maybe that has a business with more than 10 devices and should really look into a good security solution, PC Matic Pro is a great solution for that. So I didn't see any questions come in. I think, Tom, you did a great job covering everything.
Thank you.
So with that, I think we can end at 30 minutes in. Perfect timing. Stay, and once you finish here, there will be a survey that will pop up. So we encourage you to take the time to it's just a few questions that will help us understand if there's anything we can do to help you, and send you any more information on PC Matic Pro. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening, and we will talk to you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.